Governor Sanwo-Olu declares zero tolerance on sexual and gender-based violence as Awareness Month kicks off in Lagos State. President Tinubu arrives China on official visit. On the Foreign Union calls for general strike as protesters demand Gaza hostage deal from Israeli government. And in sports, Nigeria's Eniola Bolaji makes history in para-badminton after semi-final qualification for 2024 Paralympics. And now the details. I am Akan Usen. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reiterated his administration's commitment to zero tolerance on sexual and gender-based violence in Lagos State, warning that perpetrators will face the full wrath of the law. Governor Sanwo-Olu stated this during his awareness and sensitization campaign to kickstart the September month campaign against sexual and domestic violence in the state. The governor, who noted that the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency has sensitized over 1 million Lagosians, said that with over 66,000 complaints and 50 convictions, there is still a long way to go as many victims are still ashamed to speak out.
Lagos has indeed walked the talk on issues of sexual and gender-based violence, with our pioneering initiatives yielding fruits by the day. Therefore, you can trust that my administration is fully committed to this cause. I urge every Lagosian to join us this September and beyond as we unite to say no to domestic and sexual violence in our communities. Together, we can make Lagos free from all forms of sexual and gender-based violence.
Governor Sanwo-Olu urged residents to champion the fight against domestic and sexual violence in Lagos and report any case in their community through the toll-free lines 112 or 767. The slogan for this year's campaign is SGBV, not on my watch, not in my Lagos. The Lagos State Task Force has commenced a comprehensive operation aimed at ridding the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway of miscreants and suspected criminals who have been terrorizing motorists and residents in the area. The operation, which took place across key locations including Chisco Roundabout, Ilegushi, Ikate Roundabout, and Marwa Bus Stop, was executed following a series of complaints lodged by concerned motorists and residents through the agency's feedback channels. Chairman of the Lagos State Task Force, Adetayo Akerele, assured residents that this exercise is part of its mandate as enshrined in the Themes Plus agenda of the governor to restore law and order along the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway and across the metropolis. Akerele enjoined motorists and residents to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities to the agency or the nearest police station. The Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, LASODA, has hosted over 150 children with special needs, caregivers, and owners of homes in an atmosphere of fun to celebrate the uniqueness of the children and encourage their continued growth and inclusion. Speaking at the event, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Tertiary Education, Adeniro Kasali, expressed gratitude to the caregivers and parents for not isolating their children with special needs out of fear of discrimination. He emphasized that keeping these children at home limits their access to valuable privileges and socialization opportunities, which are crucial for their mental and intellectual development. On her part, General Manager of LASODA, Adenike Oyetunde Lawal, emphasized the importance of supporting children with special needs, ensuring they are included and empowered in the community. She highlighted the state government's effort in promoting the rights and well-being of people living with disabilities, noting that the program is a step towards fostering a more inclusive society. The Nigerian Army 6th Division says its troops, in conjunction with other security agencies, have destroyed about 115 illegal refining sites, 62 boats, and arrested 22 suspects in Rivers and Bayelsa states. The troops also recovered a total of 27 stolen pipes and 4 pumping machines, while 5 illegal connections used in siphoning crude oil by the suspects were clamped, with over 170,000 stolen products confiscated, in addition to other ancillary items deactivated. Acting Deputy Director, 6th Division Army Public Relations, Jonah Danjuma, while giving a breakdown of the arrest achieved within 1 week, said the feat was aimed at tightening the noose against illegal artisanal refinery activities and associated crimes in the Niger Delta region. And now to the rest of the stories. President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Beijing for his official state visit to China. Giving a brief mention of its itinerary, Special Assistant to the President on social media, Olusegun Dada, said the President will be meeting with President Xi Jinping and will be holding meetings with Chinese business leaders on the sidelines of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. The President's visit will also focus on strengthening economic ties and securing investments in key sectors, signing of several MOUs which will involve agreements in deepening cooperation in green economy, agriculture, satellite technology development, media enterprise development and promotion, as well as blue economic development and national planning cooperation. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu has announced the federal government's plan to release $800 million for the construction of substations and distribution lines under the Presidential Power Initiative. Adelabu stated this during a facility tour of TBEA's Southern Power Transmission and Distribution Industry in Beijing, China. He stated that the funds will be allocated for the construction of substations for Lot 2 and substations and distribution lines for Lot 3, with $400 million designated for each. Lot 2 covers the franchise areas of Benin, of Benin, Port Harcourt and Enugu distribution companies, DISCOs, while Lot 3 covers the franchise areas of Abuja, Kaduna, Jos and Kano DISCOs. And now to foreign news. The families of Israeli hostages are holding demonstrations in Jerusalem, urging the government to reach a deal with Hamas to release those still held in Gaza. His Tradut, one of the country's most powerful unions, announced a general strike in support of the movement after Israeli forces recovered the bodies of 6 hostages held by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, pressure is mounting on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to negotiate a deal with Hamas for the immediate release of hostages held in Gaza. Earlier, Benjamin Netanyahu said the government will not rest until it caught those responsible for killing the 6 hostages whose bodies were recovered from inside Gaza on Saturday. Now, sports. Nigeria's Eniola Bolaji has continued her historic outing at the ongoing Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, becoming the first African para-athlete to qualify for the semi-finals of the para-badminton event at the Paralympics. Bolaji recorded a straight-set victory in the women's singles 3/4 finals, beating India's Mandeep Kaur 2-0 to book her spot in the last 4. Alongside her Nigerian compatriot Chigozie Nnanna, they became the first African athletes to win a match at the Paralympics. Bolaji will be back later today for her semi-final match. And that's all for the news at 6. Just before we go, maintain adequate distance from the vehicle ahead of you to avoid collision. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms on X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. On YouTube, subscribe and watch us live on our channel Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that under the Sanwo-Olu administration, Laura launched the Lagos State Blue Box Recycling Initiative? You can get more details on the Lagos State government website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reiterated his administration's commitment to zero tolerance on sexual and gender-based violence in Lagos State, warning that perpetrators will face the full wrath of the law. President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Beijing for his official state visit to China. We also told you that the families of Israeli hostages are holding demonstrations in Jerusalem, urging the government to reach a deal with Hamas to release those still held in Gaza. Histadrut, one of the country's most powerful unions, announced a general strike in support of the movement. And in sports, Nigeria's Eniola Bolaji has continued her historic outing at the ongoing Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, becoming the first African para-athlete to qualify for the semi-finals of the para-badminton event at the Paralympics. For contact with the newsroom, please send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. And that ends the news broadcast compiled by Adeswa Ejoka. I am Akan Usen. Thanks for listening and please stay safe. Good evening.